Hello all, this is Paul Mackey with Idjit's thoughts on Gravity Falls Season 1, Episode 6. Dog Days is over, and somehow I've already got an episode out the very next week. Well, okay, on the 7th day of the month. That's technically one in a week's time, but I'm planning to maintain a pace of some sort. We went down to the Minnesota State Fair this past weekend. There's an annual list of new foods at the fair, but I tend toward my own traditions more than innovations, and there's only a reasonable amount of calories one can take in, so I had things I get every time. The about a foot-long hot dog with fried onions, mini donuts, the frozen apple cider, early harvest apple, lemonade. My phone also later informed me that I'd done 32,000 steps or so on the second day. Well, let's look at Dipper versus Manliness. Not much of a segue there, but okay. Brief summary. After failing a manliness tester...
You are a girl. Bill.
No, not that one. Where was I? After failing a manliness tester, Dipper decides he needs to figure out the secret to manliness and eventually joins up with a group of manitors who set him on a hunting task. Mabel tries to make Stan into an ideal date for Lazy Susan, a waitress at the diner. Very cartoonish. When the Manitars fight over whether to teach Dipper their secrets, a tooth flies by. The completely unbelievable tooth punched out. Wade Rockford had a tooth punched out in the first full episode of the Rockford Files. So, does that make Gravity Falls less cartoonish or the Rockford Files more cartoonish? Alright, I've got a new category. I'm calling it, Is That Okay? Basically, it's a kids show, so something questionable for a kids show. One of the Manitars is bragging up his manliness and says and shows that he has fists for nipples. Plus, later Dipper says he doesn't have hair in certain places. My favorite lines.
Now you're drinking from a fire hydrant. Teach your uncle how to wear a cummerbund. Now you're gonna shove a crazy gorge. Keep on shaving that hairy uncle.
Who is? It's a little intimidating doing a Who Is for an animated series. I mean, you get the core cast of Hollywood A or B listers with big names but limited quantity credits, but then you also get the real animation voice workhorses, and their credit lists are a bit more intimidating in scope. So I could go with the guy who's been in multiple big screen Spider-Man movies and Raiders of the Lost Ark, but instead I'm looking at someone who's a household name. If your household likes animated voice actors. I'm speaking of the voice of Bender, John DiMaggio. If you aren't a Futurama fan, he plays Bender the robot in Futurama. He also played Jake the dog in Adventure Time. Along with those major roles, he's a hard-working voice actor in general. It's hard to capture exactly what he's done, so I'll just name characters he's played over the years for DC animation. Rhino, Aquaman, Gorilla Grodd, Black Adam, Black Mask, Toyman, Mr. Freeze, Lex Luthor, Joker, King Shark, Deathstroke, Aquaman, General Sam Lane, Pope Francis, Elon Musk. Sorry, those last two were for the 2020 revival of Spitting Image, not DC Animation. Oh, and then he also did, of course, several roles in Gravity Falls, including Manly Dan in this episode. So what worked? I like the stereotypical Manitars and what felt like the utterly futile effort to make Uncle Stan more appealing. I also appreciate the callbacks the show peppers in, even though Disney Animation hates continuity. Like the free pizza t-shirt guy in the diner in this episode. What didn't work? I suppose I could pretty much copy the Is That Okay down here. Again, the show makes me feel most of the time like the characters are 10 years old, and I have no idea what the target audience is, but then they go with themes that feel like they belong outside of a regular kids show. And yeah, I know that's my problem, not theirs. I'm a fan of the Owl House too, and there's themes in that show that are fine by me but make other folks uncomfortable. So, things to ponder. Who's destroying fire hydrants? I mean, I hope it wasn't revealed later in the episode, or worse, in one of the preceding episodes and I'm forgetting. But if not, I like it because I'm pretty sure it's set up for a future payoff. So next time is Season 1, Episode 7, Double Dipper, which sounds an awful lot like an evil doppelganger episode, possibly with some sort of evil twin joke, taking off on the fact that Mabel is his non-evil twin already. Happy hunting! You have been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with quadruplez.com. Theme music is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by permission from him. If you would like to hear other podcasts by me, you might try the Ghostlight podcast, a completed introcast about the TV series Slings and Arrows, or Idjitcast, an introcast for the TV series Supernatural. Both can be found on fine podcasting listening software everywhere or at quadruplez.com.
Nothing's tough, but so are we. Let's make our own memories.
Go ahead, Dipper. Put your hand in the pain hole. Fear is the mind killer.